A good example recently is Elon Musk, right? I think Elon Musk at the time, I know his network came down a lot.
Yeah.
By the time, I think it was over $200 billion network, right? Or net worth. So, but when he wanted to buy Twitter, he didn't liquidate his assets. He didn't liquidate, liquidated some, but not all. He didn't liquidate all of his assets, he didn't sell all of his stocks in Tesla so he can afford it. What did he do? He went to banks and wealthy individuals. He utilized other people's money to acquire Twitter. So if a billionaire, Elon Musk, can use other people's money, even though he could afford it personally, right, to buy Twitter, so should you. So maybe your next dream car, dream house, business, investment in coaching, whatever the case is, maybe you should think of using debt for it. Yeah. Not even maybe, you should, right?
Absolutely.
But that's one of the reasons why credit is good.
Credit is
so you
very
build
good.
your credit to at least 700. You have to go to banks, credit unions, whatever the case is, get that funding, right? With low interest rate now. Because a lot of people, they talk about business credit, business loan, but then they you get this 20% interest rate, which is
29%.
ridiculous. 29%.
That interest be eating people up.
Yeah, because how you
setting you back.
That,
exactly.
right? So
the flip is hard.
You need a lower interest rate. 7% and below is really decent, right? And there are banks, credit unions, QuickBooks and the rest that will give you really cheap capital, right? And that's, and that's what you do. So what do you do? For example, if you get like $20,000 credit card or loan for about 7%, right? My math might be off, but your interest might be just a little bit over $100 and something a month. If you get it for like 1 or 2 years payback period, right? So literally you have $20,000 to flip, to spend in that money, to buy that merchandise, inventory, software, whatever it is you need for your business, right? And you have 1 year to pay it off. So you have 1 year to take that $20,000 debt, right, with low interest rate and flip it, right, so that you make more profit. At least if you can flip it, if you can double it, you're gonna make $40,000, and then you just pay your $20,000 debt and the interest rate, and you can still come on top at least another $15,000 thereabout. Of course, I'm just giving like a rough estimate, right? For example, a house, right? When instead of just trying to pay a house off at the beginning, if you're not very, very wealthy, at least you should have cash, 10 times cash, not asset, 10 times what the value of the house is before you should even think about paying it off, right? Because if you buy a house for $500,000, instead of giving the bank $500,000 and really not getting anything back, put 10% down, right? Then that 10% of $500,000, that's $50,000. So then you also have another $450,000 that you can grow and stretch, and then you pay the house off in 5 to 7 years, right? Where you've invested and multiplied the $450,000 instead of just giving it all to the bank and making nothing out of it. So debt is good. Use debt, get cheap debt, and use other people's money to build wealth.
So you said that 2 times. So let's break that down a little bit. You said cheap debt.
Yeah.
So cheap debt is when you get maybe a lender, funding, or what have you, and what you're getting has a low interest rate.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people don't realize that when they borrow money, even if you're going to get a car, you're getting your house, you're getting funding or what have you, that interest rate, let's say your payment is $400 a month, you're actually paying maybe $300 in interest.
Yeah.
And then only $100 to the principal. And so people are paying the $400, not realizing that interest is really eating up at them, making it a slower turn for them to pay that debt off. So cheap debt is having, let's say if it's a $400 payment, of the $400, let's say $100, let's flip it around, right? So $100 is the interest going towards the interest, and then $300 is going to the principal. Or if it's $400 and it's $300 that's going to the interest, then you need to put some more on it.
Yeah.
Every month so that you can knock out that debt a lot faster.
Yeah.
Cheap debt.
Yeah, cheap
Okay.
debt. Yeah, but sometimes
Gotcha.
too, sometimes debt might not be cheap
Okay.
if it's strategic, right?
Good.
Maybe
talk about
there's
it.
a good deal coming. You know that you could make, let's say, $500,000 profit of it, and the interest is high, but you've seen your numbers. Your numbers look good, right? And then you know that you can flip that money fast and pay a little bit more in interest, but you already know your numbers so well that you're gonna come up on top, you're gonna be profitable. Then you might try that. But but I don't like too much risky stuff like that.
Yeah.
I'd rather you just try to work on your credit and just get a cheap debt, 5 to 7% interest rate over a year period of time or thereabout, right? And then you just use that. Even the Vonza studio, where we're recording this podcast, right here. When we got this place, when you get a new building or a new stuff, you always underestimate what it will require.
Oh, yeah.
At first, I was like, okay, we can just get the studio together with like $10,000, right? But then when we got in here, the vision got bigger. I went lights and cameras and this and the other, So now it will require a lot more investment. So what I did was that instead of using my own personal funds that could allocate into something else, I went to get business funding of $50,000, right? I ended up spending $40,000 in the studio to get it ready, right? But instead of using my own personal money, I went to the bank, got cheap debt, right? And I used that money to fund the studio and do everything that we needed to do. And then within the first 3 months or so, the studio already made enough money to pay off that debt. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So pretty much I got the studio for free by just using other people's money.
That's
instead
how
of
you
using
do it.
my own personal money, right?
Now, here's the thing, because our richies listen to brokies.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of brokies on social media.
Yeah.
And they'll say, well, you have money. Why are you borrowing money? If you're so rich, why not just spend your own money? If you got it like that, then why don't you have designer luggage? And why don't you have this? And why don't you have that? Let's talk to our rich friends, because our rich friends need to know what's really going on.
Yeah.
I think you're onto something, but let's hit it home, because they're going to be on social media. They're going to go in the comment section, and they are literally questioning people based on things.
Yeah.
But you're not basing richness or wealth on things versus the ability to create more.
Yeah. Very, very good point. And also too, I think there's something, I think it might be the term, the rich system. There's a rich system, right? The rich system have principles and pillars that will help anybody to become rich and wealthy, right? And one of it, like we said earlier, is using debt. Many people that talk like that and say, oh, if you're that wealthy, why don't you just use your own money? They don't understand how wealth and the rich system works.
Right.
They don't understand it. If you look at very wealthy people, they hold the lot. They hold the most as well, right? I think Grant Cardone said, I think he's a billionaire now. In one of his episodes, he said that he holds banks, I think $3 billion. That's where he holds bank. But he's a billionaire. Why don't he just pay it off? You don't. You just use other people's money. That's what is a system, right? You don't. Why should you pay it off when you can use that money for something else? When you can always use that money, their money, pay them little interest, right? And use that money to make more money, right?
Because the banks are making money off of you.
The banks are making money off of you. So you can use the bank to make money. So use the bank's money to make money off them because they're already making money off you. Your deposits, your checking system, your savings, they make profit from it and they don't give you any part of it.
That's right.
Right? So now it's your turn to play the game on them. Use the bank money to make money off them. Right? So we're going to do an episode on why people should not keep money in the bank. So that's going to be really, really, really awesome. But what's your thought on...
No, I think this is the kind of stuff and understanding and awareness that I really needed years ago. But I had to spend a lot of time, effort, reading, things like that to acquire this knowledge. And understanding that too, I realized that a lot of the debt that I had was just debt to stay afloat, not to have debt that was going to make more money for me or create wealth for me. I wasn't acquiring debt like that. I was acquiring debt just to stay afloat.
And that's what most people do.
Correct.
And
at one point, I was so broke that I was using my credit cards to pay my rent.
Oh, now, let me say right now to our rich friends, right?
That's literally what I was doing.
Don't use debt to live. You use debt to invest. You use debt to make more money.
Yeah.
You don't use debt to survive.
Yeah.
If you use debt to survive or try to stay afloat, it's going to drown you.
It does.
You use debt to make more money. You use debt for opportunities. You use debt to build wealth and assets. That's the right way to use debt.
And so what I had ended up having to do was use the knowledge I had and start serving people, because now content creation, digital products, ebooks, and all that stuff, it's hot stuff now. But back when I was doing it, there was no Vonza. I was sending people. So I had Boss Lady, and that's when I started website design and creating business cards and things like that. So I started making money alongside of my job. So I had a side hustle. And so that side hustle was what was now helping me to start knocking down the debt. Then from having that side hustle, I was then able to take the knowledge I had of how to get clients, how to design websites, how to create graphics. And then I started teaching that. I also started teaching my understanding of interpreting dreams. We both did that course together.
Yeah.
I started teaching how I was able to heal from a lot of the trauma and things that I had went through. And I started serving people in that capacity. So back then we didn't have Vonza. I was telling people I could do this. I would have to give them a PayPal so they can pay me. Once I saw the PayPal, I would turn around, go into my email and send them the course via email so that they could learn what I had overcome and what I had learned. So that was how I was able to get myself out of the hole of debt before the whole knowledge industry age that we're in right now. So it was a literal climb, climbing through and getting myself out from the hole I dug myself in. Now, if I was in that position where I was paying my rent on my credit card now, I would still do it with the knowledge that you just gave.
Yeah.
Because what I would do is I would pay my rent on my credit card, but I would be creating content like no man's business in my apartment, because I'm a pretty organized person. I like to think everything has a place, everything has order. I color coordinate my closet, like all that stuff. And people are like, oh, this is so nice. And I'm like, yeah, your closet doesn't look like this too? Oh, okay. Like I would take that and create content and then put that out there so that I can generate income with that content to now help me get out of that hole. So I know there's some richies, like you may be rich mentally, you may be rich in your spirit, but right now your bank account, your credit score, some of that stuff isn't reflecting how you feel that you are on the inside. This is the type of stuff that can get you so that your external life reflects what's happening on the inside of you and who you are on the inside, which is a wealthy person, as a rich person. You are a richie. You're just having to go through that process of getting there.
Yeah.
Because it is a process.
Yeah. It's a process, and I think just the information, the mindset is the first place to start.
That's the first place.
To really begin to, build this wealth and become rich, and that's one reason we're doing these episodes. Let me say right now, this episode is sponsored by Vonza.com.
The number one online platform for you to run your online business.
Awesome. With Vonza, you can create courses, memberships, websites, everything you need to start and grow your online business all in one place. So start your free trial at Vonza.com. So to wrap up this episode, what would you say to somebody right there that might be, still kind of struggling in their thoughts if debt is good for them, or what would you say to them?
I would say tap into your future self. Don't operate from a place of where you are right now, whatever poverty influence, whatever trauma influences that you have. What would your future self do? If you're looking at, embarking in debt, tap into your future thought process. What would the future millionaire in me do? What would future millionaire say in this situation, and operate from there, because that's what's really going to help you. You're a millionaire on the inside, and that's where it starts. If you don't see yourself as a millionaire, you'll never become it. It starts on the inside first, and then it transcends outside of you into your bank account.
Awesome. So that's going to be it for this episode, and we're going to see you in the next one. So just remember that debt is good. Debt is your friend, and use debt to your advantage. So see you in the next episode.
See you, Richies.
Bye for now.